or something like that, just tweet me a link, and my Twitter is on the screen right now. So if you want to follow me, I'd appreciate it. And also, if you want to follow me here, I'll probably do some more streams because this doesn't seem like a disaster. Um, but if you just tweet me a link and say, I mean, we have people do it all the time. Hey, I wrote this blog post about whatever subject. What do you think? And to be honest, like we can't always get in super deep or do critiques or feedback on everything, but we always do read them and check it out and see how it'll fit. And like anything, 9 times out of 10, it may not go anywhere, but it's really cool to see where people's heads are at. And every once in a while, we get an idea that's cool enough that we're just like, yeah, we should really look at doing this. So I feel like the Demolisher is kind of iffy here, but because it's a paladin, if I can get it out and establish board control, Demolisher actually can be really disruptive. So I'm going to keep it and send back the 6-drop. Keep the Snapjaw, again, also because I'm playing a paladin. So Naboo448 asks a really cool question. I'll try to answer it. It's kind of a long answer, so I may ramble. But the question is, why make 2 games? Why make EverQuest Next and Landmark? And the answer is that originally we were just making EverQuest Next. And what happened was we wanted to make this fully destructible world out of voxels. And to do that, so normally the way you make one of these games, yeah, I had this exact situation last game, and I played it conservative. It worked okay, so let's just do that again. Oh, that was really stupid. Man. All right, well, that's a bummer. I probably should have used the coin and then the arcane intellect. It would have turned my guy into a 3/3, and then he could have just traded with the ooze, and I would have drawn 2 cards. But this is okay, too. His deck's not looking super duper strong at the moment. But so why 2 games? When we were designing EverQuest Next, oh, that was good. We just came to the point where we had to build these tools to make the game. And so normally when you're making any sort of game like this, it's almost like building a movie set, right? Like everything is flat, everything is really basic, and then you put like all the props down and define boundaries on everything, and everything has a rule, like this can be blown up, or this can be knocked over, or this can be picked up. But when you want to make a game where everything, this is ugly, that guy is ugly, I need to really draw polymorph. You want to make a game where everything is destructible, then you have to build the world completely differently. Like the whole world has to be, follow a different set of rules. Like we don't want to actually arbitrate for every piece of the world. Okay, well, you can blow this one up, you can blow this one up. You just need to be able to blow everything up. So building that world required us to build these new tools. This situation is not great, but I'm going to see if we can make the best of it. Thanks, buddy. So we're building the tools to build a world out of voxels. And as we did that, we started realizing that game was really fun. People were just building with the tools and saying, like, hey, I would just play this. And since we were having to build the tools and we felt that that was sort of like probably 30% of the way to building a game, we're like, well, maybe we should just make this a game and run it out there and see what people think. And so that's what we did. And so that's why 2 games. Like we feel like in EverQuest Next, you're not going to be able to use the building tools at the same level, because if we let people build everywhere, it wouldn't feel like Norath. It wouldn't feel, like a fantasy MMO anymore. So we wanted to just have a world where everyone can build whatever they want, and that couldn't be EverQuest Next. Multifarious, yeah. We certainly looked at a game called Minecraft, which we love, and said, hey, this is a pretty cool game. It's doing pretty well. Now this guy is not going to love this turn. Yes, that was a mistake, buddy. But that's okay, because I made a couple mistakes earlier, so now we're kind of even. Now, what should I screw up? Let's do this. and run this Demolisher out and have a little bit of wonky board control. Yeah, the 2/2, the what's his name, Arjun, or I don't remember. The 2/2 Divine Shield guy is insane. It's probably my favorite Paladin card. Argent Protector. Hey, I got that first word right. Oh, that's rough, buddy. I mean, the great thing here is that I have this polymorph. So, and that was pretty clutch too. So I have this polymorph, so I'm not super worried about this ungodly monster that he created. Now the question is, where do I go with this? I think that I play this fat turtle, kill the sheep, and hope he doesn't Blessing of King something. Call of Booty Crack Ops. First of all, great name. If that was my final pick, I would almost certainly take the Knife Juggler. I think that card is way better. But, I guess if, since you are lacking in finishers, you could make the other argument. Alright, well, he sort of did what I thought he would. Oh, man, that's suboptimal. Suboptimal, and I don't have a great solution here. So I guess I have an okay solution. So I will avail myself of it. And then this guy and be done. Let's see. Nitrium, I'm not going to do any key giveaways right now, primarily because this is the first time that I'm personally streaming and my setup is pretty janky. There's no possible way I can do it. The key giveaway that stressed you out, yeah, so we did a live stream last week where I was basically just pasting keys into the chat, and we got a lot of complaints that wasn't the experience that people wanted, and definitely heard you. So we tested out some new equipment for that, and thanks to Geek Domo, who's one of our favorite streamers, he basically just walked me through this thing. This is a tricky situation. I think I am going to play for maximum efficiency and just hope I don't get consecrated. We're pretty late to drop a consecrate, and see how that goes. But yeah, so I was basically pasting keys, and we heard from a lot of people, hey, all I'm doing is trying to paste these keys in and they're for the Prime Grappler, which is like a super good, oh boy, oh, that was lucky, super good grappling hook for Alpha. And people are like, yeah, I'm not even paying attention to the chat because all I'm doing is trying to get these stupid keys. And, definitely felt that was not what we were intending. We were just trying to give out keys because people like it when we do that, right? So we tested out a new piece of tech. Oh, that's rough. That was super ugly. A new piece of tech that we can use. So the next time, and I did a test on my stream a couple days ago to try this out, and now I'm in a rough situation. So I definitely want to wipe his board, but I hate to use a fireball on that little guy and then leave myself open for the other thing. Let me do this first and see what happens. Nothing useful. Alright, well, let's just do that. Oh, Bangor. Sorry. I see you've asked the fishing question a few times, and the reason I haven't answered it, honestly, is I don't know. I don't know if fishing is planned for Landmark. Obviously fishing is a very popular part of many of these games, so I wouldn't be surprised at all if it's in there. I just don't know for sure. Oh, this is ugly. But yeah, I think we all want like all of those extra mechanics and like crafting type modifier things will be really awesome. But I'm just not sure which ones we're gonna have and when just yet. Rocket, will we see EverQuest next in 2014 or is it more like 2015? John Smedley, the president of SOE, did a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything, a few weeks ago, and he said that it's 2015. So that seems most likely. Yeah, I definitely also want to be able to have a fishing hole, build a little pond on my claim, but I mean we gotta get water in before we worry about fishing, you know. So, oh, this is ugly. This situation is not terrible, just because his guys have summoning sickness, but I would like more of his guys to be dead. I'm really worried about him drawing a consecrate and flipping the situation completely. Oh, that's not too bad. And that's not too bad either. So the question is, do I want to play the Mad Bomber? I think the answer is at least not until after I do this. And it's probably not at the moment. Alright, well, so we'll see what he draws and see where we are. Lava fishing. Yeah, that would be really fun. I wonder what you would pull out of there. Oh, well, he did nothing apparently, so I'm feeling pretty good about this. I mean, I can't imagine a situation where he's trying to get me to play into something, so... Have I built anything in Landmark yet? Yes, I have, but it's embarrassingly terrible. I'm really not good at building games at all, and... Alright, so that guy scooped. I'm really not good at them at all, and so it's a little bit difficult for me to do it. And what's really funny, right, is it feels like I should be good, and you know, it's one of the reasons that I'm not streaming right now is that, you know, if I show you the stuff that I'm doing, it's actually so lame. No, it's not even worth it. Yeah, it takes practice, definitely a lot of practice, and I don't know, like I can't draw, I can't paint, like anything that requires that like visual orientation stuff, I'm just freaking terrible at. So so yeah, I really like running around and you know harvesting burled wood. I was very disappointed when they nerfed burled wood, as many people were. But all right, so I'm 6-0. This is going pretty well. I guess I'll keep running and see where we go. Like I said, for people who are joining, I'm playing Mage. It's not a particularly strong deck, but it's not terrible either. Grim, what do you mean? And let's see. I feel like someone had a question that was... Oh, what am I drinking? I'm actually not drinking anything right now. I'm drinking sparkling water. If you saw our live stream, what was it? The day that Alpha went live on January 31st, we had a guy named Adam Key on, and Adam works with me on the EverQuest franchise, and he's getting married this weekend, and Adam and I have been friends for a long time, and so last night was his bachelor party, and it went pretty well. Not so much for my liver, but, oops, I'm an idiot. Oh, now it won't let me say another one. There we go. Yes, hello. No, not sparkling vodka. So yeah, I'm taking it a little easy today because the wedding is tomorrow, so I imagine it's going to be another moderately rough day. So I have an okay hand here, playing against Rogue, so the ooze will certainly do something good at some point. Oh, this is my favorite situation is when people play loot hoarders into a mage. basically just gets me another turn. We basically just pass the turn. Let's see, higher resolution textures. I don't think there's anything in the plan right now for that. If you send me a message, like send me a tweet during the work week, I'd be happy to follow up and check that out. But I think that the graphical stuff, especially at the higher level, is pretty high. All right, what do I do here? I'm going to shoot that guy in the face and don't worry about him too much. Let's see. Yeah, Shadow Spawn, interesting question. A good virtual economy is player-driven. That's what Shadow is saying. And when the drops are better than the crafted items, that it hurts that economy. And that's absolutely true. And it really just comes down to balancing and sort of the intention of the design team. And I'm not sure where they're going to end up on that. But SOE is a very crafting-oriented company. We love crafting. Dave Georgeson is a huge crafter, and Emily Taylor, who's also a producer on the team. Oh, that's so nice. Emily Taylor, who's a producer on the team, is also very well known for her crafting background. So, and the designers are also pretty good at it. So I anticipate that for the folks who like crafting, there's going to be a lot of good news. Yes, Raz, that would certainly help if you guys want to put the questions in brackets. It doesn't hurt at all, so I would appreciate it. Oh, and the guy uses one of his best spells to kill something, so that's a nice 2-for-1 for me. And hello for folks that are coming in. What's great is that I'm noticing a lot of the names in the oh, that's rough. A lot of the names in the chat are people who are trailblazers and communicate on Twitter with us a lot. Community manager from 10 Ton Hammer. So there's a lot of very well-informed people in the chat who are answering questions as well, and I definitely appreciate that. Well, now that he just played this absurd, monstrous weapon, I'm on a clock, so that's a little rough. And let's see what we can do. Hopefully he'll just use it to get the card advantage, because that's pretty solid card advantage. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not liking my odds at the moment. See if I can catch up with some of this chat. Do we look back at where other MMOs went wrong to gain insight into their downfalls? Absolutely. I would say that we have the most experienced MMO development team that has ever been assembled. I think that Dave and Terry actually did some back-of-the-napkin calculations at one point. It was just absurd, something like 300 combined years of experience. Oh, this guy's going straight for my dome, and he's probably going to get there, so this game may end very soon. But yeah, we have one of the most experienced design teams that I've ever seen, probably ever, for MMOs. I mean, we have guys who have been at SOE the whole time since EverQuest. We have folks, who were at Blizzard. We have folks who've been on pretty much every project in the industry. And so we have a lot of people who are going home at night and they're just playing, they're playing whichever MMO it is they love. And so we get to see all of the strengths and weaknesses of everything. And the level of sort of encyclopedic knowledge that these folks have, and this is going to save me a little bit, encyclopedic knowledge that people have of these games is impressive. I mean, I love MMOs and I play a lot of MMOs, but when I'm talking to those guys, like, it's a whole other sport. It's pretty impressive. Yeah, so a lot of analysis and research goes into what people have done well, what people haven't, and how we can make sure our games avoid pitfalls. Let's see. Hanger84 asks, how critical will microtransactions be to the game? we're actually going to start talking a lot more about our marketplace strategy in the next couple of weeks. We're still, in process of it internally, just making sure that we're happy with it before we take it anywhere else. But we'll definitely be talking about it. The goal is, as with all of our games, we don't want it to be pay to win. We want it to be, things that sort of either make your life easier or, are cosmetic. So we'll go into more detail soon. But, our goal is that you can play the game completely free. You don't have to worry about that. And if you want, some cool stuff, we've got some cool stuff. So I think I will pop my coin here to just get this out, because luckily I've ablated some of that sword, and I think I'm in good shape there. Let's see. Shadow Spawn, yeah. The EVE economy is incredible, and we actually have one of our guys, the guy who's the head of Player Studio, is a huge member of one of the major alliances. I can't remember exactly where, but he constantly impresses me with the cool stuff that's going on. And John Smedley and Russ Shanks, our COO, also play EVE pretty fanatically. It's a big influence on us for sure. And I mean, my God, like, such a freaking cool game. Wow, that was this guy's deck is doing really well. I mean, luckily he doesn't have a lot of gas left, so if I can just blunt what he's got going on, I think I'm in good shape. And that's where my buddy the Spellbreaker comes in handy, because that guy's a little out of hand. Now I can play him and take that shot. So I think I'm in this here. Let's see. Zafira asks, how many bottles of wine are behind me? I'm going to guess it's about 75 or 100. We are wine and scotch collectors. I'm sorry, I was just corrected. It's more like 150. Some more SOE folks are here. Hi, Ben. All right, looking for more credit. I'm sorry, I got a little bit behind because the in-game situation got complex. Can I have cool stuff, please? Yes, but not from me tonight. What game am I talking about? I'm talking about EverQuest Next and EverQuest Next Landmark, Sony Online's games. I'm the senior brand manager for those titles. So we just went into alpha with Landmark at the end of January, and so we're all very excited. Let's see. Oh, I think I've got him. Yes. Oh, I've got him about 8 different ways. So let's do it the way that ends with the biggest fireball, because that's the most fun, right? Reverend Panda says, my Twitter banner is blocking some of my cards. Thank you. That's great advice. Let me figure out how to get rid of that. Hey, look how easy that was. Thank you. All right, so I won that one. Maybe this deck is a little better than I'm giving it credit for. Do I bottle any of my own wine? No. That sounds really hard and scary. I think in a long-term sense it might be fun, but no. Living in San Diego, we're actually very close to Temecula, which is a little mini wine country in San Diego. So we have access to just tremendously large quantities of good wine. So I'm not too in any rush to start bottling my own, but maybe one of these days. So let's see, I'm 7-0 so far. Now we're playing a shaman. This is usually where these things start to get pretty tough. Very often we'll get to 6 or 7 with no losses, and then sometimes they'll actually just drop 3 straight, because I think the real quality points are like at the difference between 6 wins and 7 wins, the difference between 9 wins and 10 wins, and getting that last win. So we'll see how it goes, but it's always fun to play with the grown-ups. Let's see. I'm glad you have GM, not BM. Too many streamers have BM. That all just sounds gross to me. I have no idea what you're talking about. Can you tell me what those things mean? Uh, Zephyra says, best I've done is 5 wins in Arena. What's my secret? I guess my biggest secret is I've been playing trading card games since 1994. And not that I've ever been super good at them, but I have been competitive enough to play, like Pro Tour level Magic, and get to the Pro Tour and then lose, is what I mean. And so I used to work at Wizards of the Coast. I used to work at Upper Deck, so I've worked on almost every major trading card game that's come out, and I love them. So I've been playing them forever. So jumping into Hearthstone has been very easy for me compared to for most people. Uh, just applying that knowledge and experience from years and years and years. So the quick things are, and somebody linked it earlier. There's a really good cheat sheet by a guy named Anti Gravity, and the last I is a 1. It's a Google Doc that just really does a great job of taking you through how to be successful in the arena, what your pick order should be, and that sort of thing. I think that pick order in Hearthstone is actually one of the most important things. So the quick rules of thumb are, you want first pick one of the good classes. Mage, Paladin, Shaman, and Druid, I think, are the 4 best. Certainly the 4 I have the most success with. Mage and Paladin being much better than Shaman and Druid. And then draft removal cards. Like you can see in my hand, I have Fireball, Frostbolt, Polymorph. Like that's the kind of stuff that really creates efficiency across your game. And then look for 2-for-1 cards. Like Harvest Golem is an incredibly good card because it very often takes 2 cards to take it down. Not so much in this case, but I guess now I have the question of, do I play the Frostbolt Warlord or pop that guy? I think I'm going to pop the guy because he probably has a Hex. And just push forward here. But yeah, like drafting the removal cards and then picking up cards that generate efficiency. Harvest Golem, Gnomish Inventor, anything that like draws you a card when you play it is really good. Azure Drake, as this guy just played, obviously a very good card. Acidic Swamp Ooze can be really good for breaking weapons. So let's see. 4 options. I can blow that guy up. It's probably better for me to drop my guy, trade, and man, this little mana worm is sure sticking around. Diagra says, will the bonuses from the Settler Explorer Trailblazer packs ever be available via microtransaction store? I can't promise that the answer is no, but a lot of the items in the packs, if you go to the website, EQNlandmark.com, and look at the founder pack page, a lot of the things say that they're exclusive. Those things for sure will never appear anywhere else. So, like the costumes are exclusive, the ring and the crafting item are exclusive. A few other things I believe too. The vault, the Void Vault design is exclusive. There will be vaults in the game, but they won't look like that one. So, the goal was to provide a whole bunch of cool stuff that you wouldn't be able to get anywhere else because, honestly, if you're gonna, pay to play in an alpha, like we want to hook you up. Like we want you to have cool stuff for that. So that's what we did. So now you'll see another great example of, here, I basically get to take out the guy's weapon and still get a 3/2 creature. So that's great. Now my quandary is, do I polymorph that guy or do I fireball him? And generally I think I would fireball him to save the polymorph and catch something, but dude is getting low. And so if I keep that, then I'm in really good shape. So I think I'm going to polymorph him and see how it goes. This could go badly. This might not be the right play. And if you guys in chat have any opinions, I'd love to hear what you think I should have done there. but we'll see. So I have 9 damage in my hand, so he's almost dead. And if he says go, so he's dead. I don't even have to play the Frostbolt. That game went pretty well. Let's see. Let's see if I can catch up. How important is mana curve? How many cards would you start drafting in a lower tier to help shape your curve? Well, I think the thing that's most important is to really watch out. The difference between 3 and 4, to me, is where it gets to make or break for mana curve. Like, if you draft too many 4, 5, 6, 7s, then for a decent portion of the game, you're not going to be able to play 2 cards. You know, the 2s and 3s, like, very quickly you're able to play 2 cards. This is super, super important if you're playing Rogue. When you're playing the other guys, it's not as important, but tempo is such a big deal. Like, you know, what I mean is you have your monsters out and they don't, and the more that you're doing that, you know, the more that you have control of the board, the harder it is for them to play efficiently, because you'll have cards in your hand that it's like, well, if I play this, it's just going to get eaten. So it's almost like I threw it in the garbage. And every situation like that makes it difficult for the person to play optimally. So I tend to play Arena very aggressively. I like to get a lot of low-cost cards and a lot of removal and disruption, because I also feel that I'm a good player. Like, I'm not one of the best players, but you know, if I had to take even odds against someone, I would bet on myself. So if I can play a fast game, it doesn't give them a chance to, you know, build up. Like, their mistakes are magnified, and they have less chance to, you know, play a clutch card like, you know, one of the 8 or 9 drop epics that will just ruin your day. So yeah, I tend to play aggressively. I try to stay low on the mana curve as much as possible, and you just need to have a couple big finishers to get there. Alright, so going for win 9. Probably don't need 2 Spellbreakers, and this guy is not optimal because I don't have any secrets. Like I said earlier, I had to take some fairly suboptimal picks, and that was one of them. So I got a Mana Worm, who's been my best friend so far in this, and an Ooze, which tends to be really good against Shaman. I remember when Fallen Empires came out. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, with like Thalids and Homerids and all those frickin' terrible, annoying cards. And the worst part, right, was like they weren't even that good, but they were really like entertaining and annoying to deal with. So, and Fallen Empires too. God, man, this is all of you children in here will not remember this, but Fallen Empires was funny because they changed how the rarity structures worked, and then it was completely different. Like, it didn't have any super expensive cards, but it also had like the best collection of commons, like the most efficient cards like that had ever been made, like Hymn to Torok and the little 2/1 Knights with First Strike, that really defined competitive Magic for a long time. Do I think Hearthstone would benefit from some type of sideboarding system? It depends. I think a lot on, and I get to play Spellbreaker. I think is one of my favorite cards just because of this. Like, just ruins this guy's day. It depends, right? Like, I think for a Magic player, the answer is clearly yes. The game would be better if you're playing 2 out of 3 and you can sideboard and all that stuff. I think for what they're trying to do, I would recommend against having a sideboard, just because it adds this level of complexity. And I think, you know, when you see the folks in chat talking about, you know, it's like, wow, it's hard to get like 4 or 5 wins. Like, those are people who, you know, may not have played a lot of Magic, or certainly, you know, are trying to make this work. And adding that complexity of sideboarding just adds another layer that they have to be able to master. That is honestly like the hardest part of Magic, right? Like optimally sideboarding is an art. All right, well, let's roll some dice here and see what happens. It's my least favorite card because it always just ends up blowing me up, but that went okay. Yeah, this axe, which the guy just played, is tremendously good. Luckily, I have an ooze, so I'll break it, but this is an annoying situation. And this is what I was talking about too when you have board control, right? Like, I don't want to, like, I want to play the ooze and the cobra, but if I do that, he's going to get that extra card off the cult master. So I'm running through my options here. I think no matter what I do, the guy is going to sneak a card off the cult master. So what is the right play? I think it's going to be to play two guys, get that thing off the board, and go. Actually, that was probably wrong. I probably should have played the Swamp Ooze and then shot the Cult Master, and then he would crash the Elemental, what's his name, Unbound Elemental into the Ooze, and I would have taken out the Cult Master the next turn. But that's really ugly. So this game is going very poorly for me, and we'll see how it goes. Bohegan, have I or Smed talked about any changes or updates to LAN because of Hearthstone? Well, both John and I and numerous people at the company, some of whom are in chat, and Mark, who is the executive producer for Legends of Nora, was in here earlier too. We're all huge trading card game fans and love Legends of Nora and love trading card games in general. So absolutely seeing the success of Hearthstone has made us think about, like, should we look at this? Should we take some of this? Should we use any of this to reinvigorate LAN? And the answer is maybe. We're not sure. So this game is pretty much over. But I'm not dead yet, so I'm going to try to pull it out. Well, that's pretty good. I had another mana to use, but I don't. So the question becomes, how do I mitigate damage best? And so I'm going to make a kind of junky play here and hope that he messes up. So I am going to play this Demolisher and then shoot the guy in the face and be done. And my hope is that he'll attack the Demolisher with his Cult Master and not use it to attack me. Because the Cult Master is dead either way next turn, I would just like to have that for life. Zabra says, I suck at card games. Hearthstone makes me frustrated. I like watching it played more than playing it. That's totally fair. Oh, that's rough. Lightning bolt. Totally fair. And, I think a lot of people kind of feel the same way. But, the great thing about that attitude is that watching Hearthstone is actually the best way to get better at it. I'm pretty okay at it. Like, there's a lot of folks that are really good at it that, just watching them, watching which cards they pick, listening to them talk about the situations will make you a million times better. Like, I started playing, oh dear. Well, this game is over for so many reasons. So even if I draw a polymorph, probably not going to be alive. All right, let's see, we got this one. So there's my first loss. But yeah, like, I grew up in a fairly small town, and we had, just one magic shop that actually became pretty prominent over time. But for a long time, I was far and away the best player and, would win the tournament every week and that sort of thing. And what sucked was that by the fact that I was so much better than everyone else, like, didn't have that challenge to get better or that drive to get better. And it wasn't until some folks who lived in other cities started showing up at the tournaments that really like forced me to improve my game and was really, really just tremendously valuable. So, coming onto the streams and asking questions and watching people play is probably the best way to get better. And yeah, thanks everyone for coming. I really appreciate it. If you want to follow me out, this is my first stream, so I don't know. I will probably stream some more. I'm having fun. Like I play Hearthstone a fair amount anyway, so talking while I play it is not that hard, and I really like chatting about EverQuest Next and Landmark with everyone. So if you want to follow me, I'll probably be doing some more streaming. And if you want, you can also follow me on Twitter. It's just Omid Daryani. And I tweet about Landmark, Hearthstone, XCOM, a bunch of very boring games that I love quite a bit. I've actually been playing a lot of Octodad also, and that game really cracks me up. So I'm going to mulligan these two guys just because I have 3 threes in my hand. The Kirin Tor Mage is bad because I don't have any secrets. The Emperor Cobra is okay, but I like Worgen better, especially since I'm a mage. I can just shoot it to turn on its ability. So let's see what else we get. Just looking at the chat too. A lot of people want to see Norath from EQ1 recreated. Is it safe to say we will see many old familiar town cities dungeons recreated in EQN? Yes, we have certainly already shown some dungeons from EQN that we are putting in. And so in this situation, I could actually use the coin to get moving, but I think I'm going to save it for next turn to get the Raging Worgen out and see if he has a Frostbolt. But yeah, I think we're internally going to have a lot. I mean, they're not going to be exactly the same as they are in Classic EverQuest, but similar enough that they'll be recognizable. We are trying to kind of do a reboot, sort of like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, is the way we normally put it. So because of that, like, the places may just be different. If those games were designed 15 years ago, we've learned a lot about how you just lay out a city that we didn't know at the time. This is a tricky one. Actually wanted to play the Raging Worgen. Now I kind of want to play the Demolisher because he's got these. He also might have the stupid copy spell, and that would be pretty annoying. I guess if I'm really worried about the copy spell, I should play him. And I am, so I'm going to do this. We'll see how it goes. Alright, well that's scary, because it wasn't the copy spell. So now hopefully it's the armor spell. Now I'll go ahead and play second dude here, and enjoy it when he shoots my guy. So yeah, another... Oh, Octodad. I love Octodad. My favorite thing about Octodad is the story. I actually was working on a cartoon that this reminds me of a lot, that just had that idea of like one completely absurd character in a fairly normal situation. And so playing Octodad, and it was also seafood related randomly. So playing Octodad feels a lot like watching that show that never got made. And I don't know, it's hilarious. It just cracks me up nonstop. So I've been trying to play it. It's a very frustrating game, but trying to play it a lot. Let's see, can I comment on developments with Storybricks? Sort of, yeah. Like there are developments with Storybricks. They are helping us develop all this stuff. That's really cool. We are working on AI for Landmark and how that's going to look, and working on it for EverQuest Next too, obviously. And that's kind of where we are. So, the reason we haven't talked about it too much is that we don't have a ton, like, a ton of detail to get into just yet. Oh, that's weird. So that, have I played a spell? I don't think so. So maybe it's the counter spell, but it also could be the make you invincible for the last turn secret. Dagrath, no, mages don't have any weapons, so the Swamp Ooze is not great, but it means you just get to play it as a 3/2. You're not going to destroy Vulcan. Actually, like, when I was doing the initial EverQuest Next presentations and I would say that line, I always would tell this terrible joke. It's going to be like the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, but we're going to try really hard not to kill Spock's mom. Was my terrible joke. Now you guys got it all too. All right, so he played another secret, and that's pretty annoying. I guess we have to see what it is. And this guy is, no. I'll play this guy, because if it's the copy, I can take the Worgen out. Yep. So this leaves me in a not the best situation in the world, but could be worse. So we'll get a good mentality on this guy, and I think he'll be pretty confident about being aggressive since he's got that save his life for a turn. Any chance of a name change? EverQuest Next seems awkward to me. Naming things is actually, I think, the hardest thing that anyone ever has to do in games. Oh, this is going to be fun. I will Flame Strike you and take this guy out as well. And have 4 cards, and you will have 1. So we'll see how that goes. But naming is really difficult. And, we went through a million potential names. Obviously EverQuest Next, EverQuest 3, EverQuest, let's drop everything, and I mean, millions of names. Like any possible name you can imagine was on a piece of paper at some point. And we settled on Next because we wanted people to understand that it's not EverQuest 3. It's not just, the next iteration. But it is really something, we want it to be something that's very different. And we feel like we've accomplished that. And, you guys let us know what you think too. But we're really happy with how it's going so far. So, yeah, with any name, like, some amount of people are not going to like it. Certainly at different times I felt differently about it. But I think it's pretty good. I'm happy with it now. Let's see. Stream Octodad. Yeah, I could try to do that, but I'm really not very good at games, unfortunately. I'm very good at trading card games and like strategy. Like generally the way I put it is the more boring the game is, the better I am at it. So that's really good, or it's fine for me, right? Because I just play what I like. But it means that a lot of the games that are more exciting to stream are not. Oh, it was that. That's a little awkward. Yeah, so I'm in trouble now. I think I'm in a lot of trouble. So I will play the Frostwolf just for parity and see if I can get that board clear. Sorry, just trying to catch up on the chat. This game is looking pretty over now. Oh, good, another polymorph. So do that. Spell break this guy and then shoot him. So, I mean, he's going to come over the top and put me at 7, so I'm very much in danger of just random fireball blowing me up, but we'll see how it goes. Oh, he didn't come over the top, so He's a little more nervous than I thought. That's interesting. Or he's got a big dude. Nope. Alright. Well, that's not the end of the world. So I will just go down here and see. Let's see what he draws. I'm just trying to catch up on the chat because it seems like you guys are having a good conversation about Next and Landmark. Well, so whether or not, it's fun too, because whether or not we put certain zones or pieces from original or EQ2 into the game, I guarantee you other people are going to build them in Landmark, and that's going to be awesome. And we're going to actually take some of the stuff that people build. Oh, that was good. Some of the stuff that people build and put it into EQN. And we're going to run like various contests and programs to do that. We're actually detailing out one right now for like people who build cool designs that could be for the landmarks in Landmark. We'll use some of those. So I'm really excited about that. All right. Now the question is, I think that just press forward here, and hopefully he doesn't get any gas and he dies in a turn or two. Oh, that was great. It's the worst feeling in the world when you're relying on the top decks and you just get something like that. Watch me draw stupid swamp ooze too. Oh, see, this is what you want to draw when you're just drawing off the top of the deck, is kills you. Most of the time I feel like I draw the swamp ooze. This is a really cool conversation. I'm glad you guys are talking about it. Continuous expansion, procedurally generated. And if you guys haven't seen, John Smedley, the president of SOE, has a new blog called Smedblog or Smedsblog. I hope it's Smedblog, that's funnier. Where he's talking about things, and his first big post was about why we're really excited about sandboxes versus the older content strategy. And I thought it was really cool because, and you see it, I think Eve is the best example, right? When the sandbox is there, when players are generating the stories, it's so much cooler. And the content is really limitless because players are making their own objectives. And so I think we have a sort of best of both worlds, but I'm really much more excited about that, about the open world, about the AI, and about the way that people will interact with the world to make new stories. Yeah, sorry, I got a little bit behind on the chat since that game was tough. Zafira, yeah. And that's, so she says, I think she, maybe he, says, I remember not really reading the quests in WoW, and you want to be able to read the text. And that's absolutely true. And I mean, for me too, I hate to admit it, in most MMOs, I don't read the quest text. I think that the vast majority of people don't. I think that one of the big reasons for that, and we covered this in one of the roundtables with Steve Denuser, who's one of the creative directors, is that when you get that wall of text and the guy is, he's telling you oh, you need to go to, village X where, this guy has this problem with his farm or, whatever the story is, you don't have any context for any of it, right? You haven't been to the village yet. You don't know who the farmer is. You don't know why, he has this problem with pigs running all over the place or whatever. So you don't care because, how can you care about it without that context? And so the goal in Next is that rather than, getting these long, boring quest texts, you start to see the quest. You see the situation where, and an example we've used a bunch of times is there's a farm on the hill and the farm is on fire and orcs are raiding it. You don't need quest text to tell you what to do here. You understand orcs are, attacking this settlement, what do you want to do? Do you care? Like, if you care, then maybe you want to stop the orcs. Maybe you want to help the orcs. Like, what you want to do is massively informed by context as opposed to just being told, hey, go over here and do this thing. And then later, I mean, the hope is that after you have kind of wrapped up with the with the quest, like you go back to town. Now you're talking to someone about that farm, right? And in talking to that person about the farm, now you have context, right? And that makes it an interesting story. So I'm hoping, and that's really what we're aiming for, I'm hoping that's what we're going to be able to execute. Corpse Fury says, I'm really excited about these contests because I'm not a great builder, but if you give me direction and motivation, that's where I shine. I totally understand. And one of the things, like, and it's sort of a sandbox problem as much as anything. Like, if you just go into the world, and like I remember playing alpha in Minecraft, right? You just go into the world and it's cool, but what do you do? Like, and yeah, if you guys want to be friends and play me at Hearthstone at some point, please feel free to add me. Greenface1929. And what was it? Oh yeah, the direction on contests, right? And I think a lot of people don't know quite what to do. Some people have like very clear vision of, oh, I'm going to rebuild the Eiffel Tower or something like that, and that's cool. That's not really me. I kind of flounder, and I'm like, hey, what should I be doing here? And I think that these building contests are going to be just a really great way for people to say, oh, I get it. I know exactly what I should do. And I think really the fact that we're going to say like, hey, we're building the Mad God's temple, or we're building Kinos, and we need a temple to go in it, and then being able to show you like what the street where the temple looks like, or where the temple goes looks like, and then you say, oh, I get it. I know what should go there. I understand the style. And from what we've seen people building so far, I think we're going to see some really cool stuff. Man, I need a flame strike. That's not it. So this game is getting ugly on me. I don't think it's the end of the world, but I definitely am not thrilled about where I am. And we'll see how it goes. I think as long as he doesn't play anything too scary, we should be in good shape. Zafira asks when beta will start, and we haven't promised anything except that it's on or before March 31st. And I know we started the alpha sort of a month before we had promised. The goal is to have it happen as quickly as possible, but at the same time, we want to make sure that, like, because when we go to close beta and the $20 packs start getting people in, it's going to be a much different audience than the one that we have right now. Like, they're going to be a little bit less engaged. They're going to be have more expectations that the game is like finished. And you guys have seen what it looks like. It's definitely not finished. So we want to make sure that the development team has enough time to polish the game up and have it be good before we switch over. So I don't know. I definitely don't think it's going to happen in the next week or two, but we're still looking at it. And we basically make an evaluation every day of what we need to do. So the best way to do it is just keep an eye on the forums and see where we are. Let's see, where are these SMED blogs? I apologize, I don't have the link on my home computer, but it's a WordPress site, and I want to say it's just SMED blog or SMED's blog. SMED's blog. SMEDsblog.com. So you can go there and check it out. Oh, these are my least favorite situations in the game. I feel like I'm doing okay, but I definitely am not crushing, and at any point that something bad happens on the other side, I'm going to be in a lot of trouble. All right, trying to catch up with the chat. Sorry, guys. Now that the game has gotten harder, harder to keep up with the chat as well. Some good stuff about questing systems. Oh dear. Well, this could be worse. I wish I could hit this guy. But at least I've got the Flame Strike. I actually don't think I want to play it. I think I'm going to hang out and see if I can get an advantageous trade out of the guy here. Ashnodcott asks, will there be a risk-reward system with death penalties, equipment loss, etc.? I assume you're talking about in Landmark. In Next, definitely there will be death penalties, and we're working on what those will be. Landmark, the answer is also yes. The answer is also yes. Oh, man, that was rough. But I guess it can make my Flame Strike pretty good. Oh, I don't even need the Flame Strike now. And yeah, the answer is definitely yes for both games. But for Landmark, we're getting ready to put it in. I think it's actually a fairly short-term piece of the roadmap that Dave Georgeson posted. And I mean the first things are going to be things like falling damage and try not to get yourself killed in stupid ways, basically. But then it'll go to having NPC monsters that can mess you up, and having PvP, that sort of thing. So I really wish I could play the Flame Strike now, but I guess I just have to settle for turning this dude on and getting board control. Now, the real question to me is, should I play the Ooze? Because he clearly doesn't have a weapon now, but him dropping a weapon would be rough. I think I have to do it because I'm losing the race on life, so we'll see how it goes. Bangor asks, have we thought about letting guilds or groups claim pocket islands? Yes, we've discussed a bunch of stuff like that. We're not 100% sure yet what we want to do with it, or if it's going to be something we actually want to have happen in the final product. But it does make a lot of sense. Obviously guilds are going to be able to group up and combine their claims to make something better, make something bigger. We're still working on those systems as well. But yeah, I think over time, and remember, it's an MMO, so even when it ships, even when we go to closed beta, open beta, and launch, the game's not anywhere near done. It's going to keep growing the whole time. So a lot of features may not be there in the next month or even the next 6 months, but they'll definitely get there. Which legendary card do I feel is best for my playstyle? Well, I love control decks. I really like just being able to comprehensively take over the game and manage what my opponent is going to be able to do. So I think my favorite one is probably Ragnaros. He is just such a huge frickin' monster. Okay, I'm so low on life. I think this is the right play. And I'm unfortunately in the danger zone, as Archer would say. But if he doesn't do anything, then I should have him next turn. So we'll see how it goes. Oh, that was suboptimal. Luckily I have the polymorph, so I'm not worried about this, but Would have rather just gone ahead and killed him this turn. Let's see. So that'd be 3, 13. It's not going to do it. So let's go ahead and drop everything, and I don't know what he could draw to solve this problem. That's not going to do it, but give him another out. It's not going to do it either, so that's good. Let's see. Sorry, trying to keep up with the chat also. Am I a fan of Archer? Absolutely. It's one of my favorite shows. Has been pretty much since it started. I love the group of people. I love Arrested Development too. So the constant references and having Jessica Walter and Jeffrey Tambor and what's her name that plays the secretary just constantly cracks me up. And all right, so 10 wins, 1 loss. So this has actually been a absolutely great arena run. So let's see if we can keep it going. Like I said, this is another 10 wins is where it starts getting really hard. So we'll see how it goes. But it would be really cool to win out here. I just wouldn't bet on it. Frisky Dingo, I like too. I didn't watch it as much as Archer. I actually found out about Frisky Dingo because of Archer. So I've watched it, but it doesn't have the same special place in my heart. Alright, so playing a Shaman. So I definitely want the Ooze. I'll let the Sunwalker go just because it costs 6. But yeah, I love cartoons. I actually worked on cartoons for a long time, so have gotten to know some of the folks that work on them, and it's been really cool. So yeah, I have a huge special place in my heart for them all the way back to when I was a kid. Let me see. So drawing a Flame Strike this early, not the best thing in the world, but let's see. With player-generated content, will the dev team be taking the opportunity to develop really advanced mob AI? Let me grab a drink real quick. The answer is yes. And it seems like you guys know a lot about the game, so we're working with a company called Storybricks that has some really sensational AI tools. And we're taking that technology and incorporating it in, and it can do some just tremendously cool stuff. And so we think that our model